space repair varies depending on location of home, weather, seasons, um, what type of gutters you have, if the homeowner's done what they're supposed to on positive grading, keeping things clean. Your crawl space repair goes from anywhere from foundation settlement to hydrostatic pressure to water in the crawl space to walls bowing in. It's basically the same thing as when you have a basement. You just don't have that big of an area that you have to work with to do it. The biggest one in the Midwest is hydrostatic pressure and moisture in the basement. There's a bunch of water that gets into the basement and creates odors, and that's when homeowners start figuring out that they have a foundation problem or they have a crawl space issue. Once that's done, that's when they call, we go out, we assess it, you go over what is the cause of it. A big portion of crawl spaces are built where the water table is too high to put a basement in, so you get a bunch of odors and you get a bunch of must, mildew buildup underneath it that start coming through your joists and the floor that create a strong odor in the house itself. Around the Midwest and the Kansas City area, what the biggest issue we have is hydrostatic pressure and walls moving inward because of the water. So when you have that issue itself, what we do is, depending on what we have location wise and how much room we have, we can put in wall anchors or we can put in beams to support the walls itself. And then once we get that in, depending on what the homeowner wants to do, we add pumps to help reduce the water pressure that's built up. We can excavate around the interior footings. We can put in drains to allow the water to get away from there into the pumps to help reduce the smell. And depending on what the homeowner would like to do, we can go as far as doing what's called a crawl space encapsulation system. What that entails is we go in, we level out the floors, we make sure the walls are clean itself, and then we'll put up a plastic waterproof membrane around the foundation itself, down the walls, and then we'll encapsulate the floors as well. What that does is it allows the vapor barrier to keep all that moisture underneath it and gives you really good air quality above the plastic itself. With doing that, we put in a dehumidifier that pulls all that moisture out as well to help keep that area clean. That way when you're upstairs, you can't smell anything that's going on. That's the biggest thing we have in the Midwest with basements. During that process, we'll also we'll assess the joists, make sure they're not rotted, molded, if there's no mold anywhere, so that way when we go to isolate everything, we can take care of all the problems at once. With that, we can go in and we can either take the joists out, put new joists in if they're too rotted out. When we do that, we will also adjust the main beam that's in there. If it's a steel beam, we can clean the beam, we can clean the mold off of it. If it's a wood beam, we can take it out and replace it, depending on what kind of damage is done to it and if it can't be repaired.